Hi, Jess.
Hi.
How was your day today?
It was good.
We've known each other a long time, probably close to a decade now, and you're one of my favorite teachers. Well, what topics were you talking about today in your class?
This whole month is focused on job applications, which is not the sexiest of topics, so it's a little hard sometimes to keep it interesting and engaging, but it's really vital. And actually, as I was looking through actual job applications recently, I started to wonder, like, if they're actually intended as literacy tests or just unintentionally become these literacy tests, because 10 different applications will ask the same question with 10 different vocabulary words. So really covering all the vocabulary for that topic is tricky.
And for the class that you're teaching, what level would you say your students are at?
So my students are high beginning and low intermediate ESL students. So if you're testing on the CASAs, it's somewhere between, like a 195 up to like a 211, 215. So it's a pretty big range.
One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, along with your teaching employment, and you've developed a lot of curriculum around computer stuff. You're one of the techiest accidental techie teachers that I know. Was that in 2009, you won the Literacy Action Network State Award for ABE Possibilities and Potential. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so as I understand it, it's an award for helping learners realize their full possibilities and potentials, and particularly learners with disabilities. And at the time, I'd been working for about 3 years pretty extensively with learners who were blind, anywhere from just low vision to the point where glasses weren't enough, all the way up to people who were completely blind. I had several Braille readers in my class. I had learned how to create materials in Braille for those students, and really opened my eyes to a variety of multisensory ways of teaching in order to accommodate those learners. So that was the focus of the award.
And what's one thing that you found more difficult than you expected when you went into working with blind students?
Creating and adapting texts for them to use. So most readily available textbooks are not easy to get in Braille, and even if you could get them in Braille, they'd be really expensive, like as much as $300 sometimes for a Braille version of a textbook. Plus, a book that takes up about this much room on your shelf in print might take up an entire bookshelf in Braille, particularly the level of Braille that my students were reading, where every single letter needs to have its own character. So instead, we were creating all our own materials in Braille, which involved a lot of technology. It involved sometimes a scanning program to scan the text into the computer, like optical character recognition software, and then a Braille translation software to turn that text into Braille, and then a really large piece of equipment that is essentially a Braille printer called an embosser.
Which, from my understanding, are very expensive.
Yes.
And not always the most reliable or easy to fix.
Yeah, they're really hard to fix, in part because they're primarily designed for users who are blind, so they don't have any kind of a screen display. In fact, most of the buttons aren't very well labeled, and most of the troubleshooting is done through these numbered codes that then produce a series of different beeps that have different meanings. So yes, it was a huge learning curve, and luckily I had a lot of help, including from some friends at Blind Incorporated who knew this technology and were able to sort of train me as needed on how to troubleshoot my embosser.
I want to ask just a couple finishing questions here, mostly because I used to watch Inside the Actor's Studio. These won't be anywhere near as hard, but they might be fun anyways. What one word describes your teaching style best?
I like to think innovative. I would get really bored if I was doing the same thing all the time. So I feel like I'm constantly trying new things, and I like challenges, even if it's as challenging as having a student who's blind in the classroom.
What profession other than your own would you like to try?
Yes. Part of me would really like to be a video game designer. I don't have any of those skills whatsoever, but yeah, if I was going to start a new career, maybe that would be it.
And finally, what are you presenting on at Summer Institute?
Oh, let's see. What am I presenting on this year? I've forgotten already. I am presenting on classroom management strategies for any variety of types of classroom. So looking at what K-12 research says about classroom management, and then working on it with the adult classroom.
Jess, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great rest of the evening.
Thanks, you too.